Hello boys, girls, and people from other worlds, my name is Star-Punz. In today's video, we will be exploring the possibilities of what if Wordgirl entered the domain of Dragonball Z. We start the story off following the ending of her own show. We will proclaim this era the end of PBS, a short nod to GT of course, as she had just vanquished the villainy in her own town with a few short swoops, proclaiming herself as a fair city marvel once more. Reuniting with her own friend, Violet, cultivating another growth in her own life, and with the villains in her city all drawn away. All of them alluding to their ways just no longer possible. Even with the combined efforts of the entire Legion, they could not even come close to her true power. Toby, unfathomed by this conclusion, proceeds to leave the group, considering them all to be useless under their false ideologies. 6 months later, Becky Botsford is having to grow up. She's finally turning 11, and no crime has appeared within her city that has caused her to lose the priorities in her human life. For once, there was that eager quietness. Even as much as she tried to relinquish these few moments of an era of peace, the soft fabrications of the cosmos still clouded her mind. Her last birthday. She had wished nothing more than to leave the life of heroism. Now she does not know where she designates herself into. All she is now is an exceptional girl capable of loving a dictionary. After revealing her identity to Violet, she knew that anyone with the knowledge of her own identity was faced with the consequences she had to deal with her entire life. The looming fear that she was managed to be of having to be caught from a mirror camera from earlier. It lingered in her with a designated anxiety that she had been so careless to forget that the only thing tying her humanity was the concealing of it. This was for the better. But what would she give for one more day? Just one more day to be a hero once more. We cut to another far planet across the galaxy, another variant of Earth inhabiting itself with mystical wonders of heaven and hell, in which Son Goku was to venture on his own legendary quest for the Dragonballs. Wheeling down the trees, whistling to himself as the lone monkey of the mountains. In his still kind heart, his deep desire for fighting had not yet resonated yet. If anything else, he was content. This was all he needed. The peaceful journey to no roads ahead. All was to be changed by the very same day. Nothing could have anticipated Son Goku of his far-off journey. Meeting ghosts, demons, aliens, demigods, commies, supreme kais. We all know of his efforts. But what if our two heroes, burdened with strength, face their greatest challenge yet? Never living the lives they deserve. A short time back to Botsford, on her own home planet. She comes home after a long day of drowsing schoolwork. Entering back her home, the moment she turned the knob, she felt it. She felt the nerves tensing, her eyes plunging the back of her skull as her brain designates the innate response of fear. She thought to herself, they're here. Someone is here. Someone has done something. Someone has found me. What do I do? How do I do? When did I lose sight? Questions circled her mind. No time to think, only to respond accordingly. Mysterious figures leaped at her with the darkness. She winds her arm up, punching right against her intruder, gasping for air in anxiety. The lights turn on and she saw it. Violet on the ground, with Becky's cake in her hand. As Becky's entire family and friends gathered all around trying to help her up, watching the disarray. Her friends ran towards Violet, and Becky did as well. Violet laughed a little as she felt the cake on her face. Becky did nothing but apologize. Everyone knew this was probably the most appropriate response to being ambushed, but her mother saw it. A latent yet very noticeable cause of her fear. Becky rubs the tears off of her eyes as she tried to hold herself together. The rest of the day was spent with the joy she had missed last year. Only, she knew there was something wrong. That bleeding sensation in her heart as she has lost breath. It still lingered time to time when she gazed at her friend. Did I hold back? Did I know it was her? Should I have known? Will she blame me? How could I? Why did I try to punch her? Was my plan to just beat up my friend in front of Becky? Her sudden paranoia was cleansed by a hand on her shoulder. Her mother sitting next to her as they both ate some of the remaining cupcakes. It was already 9:30 and everyone had gone home. She was sitting there alone with her mother in the backyard. She exclaimed she was just so happy everyone came to her party, but her mother knew better than anything, telling her that no one is going to blame her if anything had happened. You simply acted out of fear. You're only human after all, she said. Becky laughs, not for the reason her mother believes, but finds comfort in being able to relinquish a moment. However, with her innate superhuman senses, she smells something way stronger than anything else as she sees her mother pull out another cake, a replica of the one they had made already. Can't let the day end without a wish, now can we? Wordgirl gazed down. She knew what had happened the last time she made a wish on this day, and this day only. Will she need to relive another shutdown? Maybe this time Dr. Two Brains makes New York into cheese. Gouda, maybe. The flames stared at her as a source of another year of human responsibility on the birthday cake. But she was more. She needed to be more. She needed to prove to herself that she was still enough to protect those around her. And one blow, it was done. She wished for more time to prove herself that she could save her planet when they needed her most. The clouds turn black. Her mother stares in confusion as the candle fades away. As a glowing beam of yellow glows from her chest, the star. The star on her costume under her clothes. Her mother cries out as the rest of the family run out. Huddyface knows that once and for all, Becky Botsford has done it once more. Another wish. He latches onto her foot and they both slowly ascend to the sky. On the far-off planet of Earth, Goku felt it as well, his tail slowly being lifted first as he yelled out to have at least his pants on. He was still fishing with his tail at this point, in which he was granted his saiyan G, before being beamed across the galaxy. Becky was traveling throughout the universe, wondering what she had done, knowing well this is what she had wished for, before seeing another beam cross paths with hers. Both of them in bright yellow, hearing the cries of a son Goku. Yet the two of them were somehow familiar with the feeling of fleeing from their home planet. Goku passed Becky and Huddyface, staring them down in an exclaim of confusion, the last thing she saw before she passed out from the transportation. 5 more minutes. Bedtime is only 5 more. Ow! She exclaimed as she felt a pebble bang her head. At least, it was something in the same shape. Upon grabbing it out of her hair, she noticed it was a bullet. A bullet? She was almost amazed at it, always having heard of bullets until that's all she could hear following an entire round being drummed against her head. She giggles a little bit, feeling the drumming on her stomach, until her provoker ran out, with Becky looking up, the smartest woman in the universe, Bulma. What are you? Cutting back to Fair City, we find Son Goku's head wedged into the concrete of the Botsford backyard. Her family managed to pull him out in favor of gathering some information on the situation. Now you better explain yourself. Where's Becky? What? You should know better than anyone how to get her back. Please, where is she? Just as the two exclaimed in different languages, the sky had turned into a black, cleared sky. Son Goku tried to gather the information of the situation. This entire environment was just too alien. Almost in fear could he have understood what was happening. That was until he looked on over to the city across from the neighborhood. The family lunged on over to the fence, looking at the giant robots conquering the entire place. But something was different. From this mechanical accomplishment, a giant devilish M was branded right across her chest. They were all mechanized robots made by Toby. Son Goku understood nothing of what was happening, trying to grasp any confounded understanding of this planet. He had to check the time. It was too dark outside. It could be in the sky. The moon. Just then, the sky had gone black once more, even pitched Nothing could be seen in the daylight. Nothing could be seen in the dark. But absolutely nothing could be seen when a wish is granted. Becky was getting tired of this nonsense as she turns around. What more could the world ask for her now? She looked on over to Bulma, who was already hugging Huddy Face in fear, until she noticed she was hugging a monkey, and was utterly disgusted before beating the monkey up. An exclamation of her distaste for any animal-like creature, which could be found worse from the sky, as a giant dragon eluded.
Becky Botsford of the planet Lexicon. You have confined yourself into your own wish. What a path that Son Goku was to take is now in your hands. You have 24 hours to defeat all of the trials and tribulations of this planet. If not, then your planet will decimate with the rise of Majin Buu. A mistake that was confined into the depths of the Daemon realm, brought on by the great witch Mama. The warlord Bobby has already eluded your enemy Toby, granting him power beyond that of his own comprehension to bring upon Majin Buu. You have one more day. Do you consent? If declined, you will go back home learning of nothing, truly never knowing the limits of your power.
Okay, half of those words you made up.
Do you accept?
Becky simply nods, and the almighty Shenron gleams his eyes in a grand red. He states,
It is done.
Bulma has already passed out on the spot alongside Huddyface, whilst Becky looked upon a grand battle stage being built brick by brick. The Cell games being constructed in front of her eyes, as the lineup of the greatest evils this universe could offer line up. Almighty Shenron places a large sand clock on the side of the stage as she equips her gear, wearing her iconic costume, as she walks right up to the stage, with only one thought in mind. Word up. Pilaf gained are brought onto the foundation of the stage. Obviously, Pilaf tries to throw Shu right into the battle as Mai pulls out her gun. Becky giggles as she quickly oversteps right on over to tap their nets, blanking them out, placing them down as they fall asleep instantly. She slowly placed them on outside the stage to rest beside Bulma. Hoodie was getting tired of having to care for passed out enemies at this point. The tournament warps inside and out until the entire place has designated itself as a Red Ribbon Army's headquarters. Running towards Muscle Tower to fathom what her next move is. Becky runs towards Muscle Tower to fathom what her next move is. Agitated by what was going on around her, she felt a shift in the weather. Snow plowing down as she begins to be shot down. Becky dodges around from the enemies that were shooting at her from the tower, as they had more of a hit than Bulma's bullets, but still weren't enough for her to find anything challenging. Simply by running towards the entrance, she barges it down. General White was dumbfounded that an American of all things is here. Her hair stood on its strand, as she was being ambushed by the entire Red Ribbon Army. The pounce of their anger overruled any regard for rationality. Becky stared at the tower in curiosity, as while the entire army was on top of each other, she already got out in the blink of an eye. She was simply gazing upon the Brits that were building this construct of a tower, resulting in her pulling one of them out, crashing down the entire building itself. Worries the lives of these soldiers, and in retaliation zips them all out to save them out of the building. This entices the result of the following surrender of the entire Red Ribbon Army. Commander Red stands in front of his enemy, looking down at the disappointment fallen before him as his soldiers give up. Well, Wordgirl, you have wished yourself for a challenge, and you will find yourself. Hell, I will cost your life of your entire family for having to subdue my very wish. A child once more from middle school, ruining my ambitions? Why? Why could I have not been taller? Almighty Shenron will grant my real wish. She will do. And just as he said that, he looks behind him, and his army is still down. And then he looks back at Wordgirl. Commander Red simply sighs and jumps off the stage, proceeding to the next saga. The realm that inhabited her strength warps once more, fitting into that of the plains found on the outskirts of South City. Usually there would be a narrator to explain what I have to do next, instead of my very obvious actions being shown on screen. Her snobby attitude diluted as she felt the presence of something far greater than any threat she had faced on the planet Earth. A pinnacle of power most nefarious and evil. The King Demon Piccolo, all in old saggy glory. Even he knew that at this state, that there would be no chance that he could stand up against the tyrant of the dictionary in front of him. That was until a gas of light banished his despair, consumed by a wish of Shenron, He felt it. Pure eternal youth. Shenron granted youth once more. Wordgirl retorts, I'm getting really tired of this wishing thing, I'm gonna be honest. Piccolo blasts a laser beam across the cheek of Wordgirl, cutting right across her skin. She looks at the blood falling before her, and then back at Piccolo. She wipes it off and grins. Oh? Word up. Piccolo uses his telekinesis to pull Becky with her helmet. She pushes her helmet right off of her head and gut punches Piccolo to show a long engraved outline. Not letting up, Piccolo slams his head down on her back. Wordgirl falls, but catches herself and jump kicks with both legs. Piccolo dodges by an inch, resulting in a cut across his chin. Piccolo trembles a bit backwards. You are holding back. You will not be forgiven me. You will not be forgiven for letting me live. I will make sure you will feel pain. Do not humiliate me. Do not humiliate me by letting me live. You piece of... Piccolo strays a ki blast right at her face with a surprise. I'm sorry, I zoned out. What were you saying? She nods back into reality as she deflected a blast just by simply a finger. Piccolo pops a vein before flying up to the sky out of fear, knowing at this state he could not beat her. He looks over to where she was, then to his right, being face to face with her. You scared of a kid? Believe me, you'll get used to it, she says before grabbing him, sumo landing to the ground with his teeth hitting the curb. She cleans her gloves. She walks on over to the broken helmet, a bit saddened by its state. But then, she notices a sound the Demon King was making. Vomiting. Before popping an egg out right in front of her. I told you. You'll regret letting me live, girl. The egg hatches quickly before the new Piccolo Jr. arrives, in which the little Piccolo grows to his evil, full-grown self in a matter of seconds. What the f***? Wordgirl stands in front of this new Piccolo, now fully grown with his cloak on and hat. Piccolo throws the weighted gear right off. Wordgirl takes her cape off as well. Piccolo retorts back. I see you finished warming up. You were just born out of an egg from vomit. I don't have a one-liner that will ease that memory out of my head. Piccolo chuckles. Don't worry. I'll make sure to gouge that out of your mind after I tear your skull off. The ferocious demon leaps right at the Fair City Marvel. Wordgirl prompts an immediate response by firing a blow right at it with her fist, whilst Piccolo punches right back, the two of them countering each other with skull-breaking fists. Wordgirl falls to the ground, whilst Piccolo stumbles back as well. The two of them rush in to fight once more, for he extends his arm right around her, pulling her in to land a blow in the gut. You have pure, unavoidable strength, I will admit, but not a single technique in your form, flight, or even your stance. You won't be able to win without my training paying off with your blood against the floor. He comes in for a blow with a chopping motion, only for Wordgirl to run on Piccolo's chest and leap back from his grasp, pulling his arm. However, Piccolo cannot pull her back. He urges the utmost strength to draw her in further, but she kept going in record time. Piccolo learned at that moment he was trapped in her grasp, as his arm kept extending. Wordgirl yells out, miles ahead. You're right! I have had no training, but it doesn't mean I can't learn! She giggles as Piccolo could not hold himself. 10 yards, 20 yards, 50 yards, 100 yards, 120 yards. Piccolo growls. Why, you little? Piccolo slowly closes his mouth on her, charging up an ace in the hole to checkmate her with the moment she repels back towards him. In a moment of anticipation between the aliens stand up, Wordgirl makes the first move as she lets go of her grip, hanging onto his arm whilst retracting it, clenched fist ready in hand. Piccolo thinks to himself. 100 yards, 50 yards, 20 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards, 1 yard. That's it! You're finished! Piccolo charges up his beam and blasts right at her as she is pulled right into his reach. Taking a Masenko beam cannon, right towards her, that it will only result in brutal death. As the son of the Demon King, fear arises. But his impending demise would come from his hubris, as once the beam reached her gaze, she simply punches right through it, splitting the beam in two as she reached closer and closer, only for her punch to go right across his jaw, knocking him unconscious, falling to the ground with a well-honored fight. She stands before the Namekian, smiling as she doesn't have to kill him at this moment. She has no intention to, but worries if each of these fiends is becoming worse than the last, then she will have to let go of any restraint she has shown so far at these moments. Amidst the fallen foe, she takes her cape once more and frees the cracks left by his father on her helmet, preparing it to its once healed state. Alright, who's next? She says as she turns around to the horde of enemies having to wait in line. The tournament continues once more, this time prompting the entry of a foe marginally stronger than anything she has faced any time before. The Prince of all Saiyans, Vegeta. Dwindled the poor man to his defeat once for his kin to not only fail in his vengeance, but humiliate the bloodline. You make me sick. You know, we could use a warrior like you. Read me. Huh? Read my power level. Vegeta silenced himself, an odd gesture that many haven't seen in any time, but still, it humored him. That this exchange was between the pinnacle of the Saiyan race and a mere middle schooler. Very well, I do warn you. But don't cry when you can't. I do warn you. Don't cry when you can't reach. The moment he tries to detect her power level, the scouter explodes on his face, completely by the incalculable cost of reaching even her potential. She looks down right at the costly result of her own existence. In true manner of Vegeta, of course. The face of impossibility shatters a man as he was just revealing his own potent power, looking down at the achievement he could never, ever achieve. The scout finally beats with a response. Death. He kneels down to the scouter. Wordgirl sighs as she walks on over to him. Hey, I mean, the other guys wanted to fight even without knowing me, so don't worry. You're honestly the smartest one out of the bunch. You, Frieza. Words, little girl. How? Why? When? Death? Universe? Point of... What is my life? Where? But you. How? Okay, let's just, Here, you can walk off this stage with the rest of them. Okay, let's just get you here. Ida, still picturing the image of victory in his illusions, unfazed by her words until she picks him up and slowly starts walking on over to the edge of the tournament, slowly placing him beside both of the Piccolos. Huggy Face was sitting on a recliner chair, whilst the Pilaf gang were all being his servants, giving him drinks and fanning him whilst wearing sunglasses. He gives a thumbs up to her as she threw Vegeta off, and she sighs. And I thought my villains were weird. I kinda miss them right now. I wonder what they're all doing. Don't worry about them. Besides, you have beaten my circus monkeys. How am I to be entertained now? Worker looks behind her, looking right at the demeanor of evil itself. Frieza, the tyrant of all that dies before his palm, stood before the hero in his classic demeanor, arms reaching out in anticipation of a singular strike, really relishing the potential placing down what he considers in his eyes for all an inferior. Wow, okay. What, do I have something on my face? Yeah, you have this giant, like, purple rash on your forehead. If you need, we could wait until you're not sick. How do you think? We should have some cream somewhere to clean it off. Wordgirl walks on over to Huddy Face, trying to find something to help this hellspawn of an enemy. Frieza breaks a vein in his colossal head, blood rushing to the top of his forehead. Intolerance runs course in his status as Emperor, but at this very moment, he truly wanted to grovel in it. In a blink of an eye, he was an inch away from her vicinity. Both arms crossed as he delivers a blow from the tail right towards her eye, piercing towards her in an effort of gouging him right out of her skull. The second his tail lunges towards her eyeball, The tail itself begins to break into the pressure of her pure strength. The entire muscle begins to collapse in itself, like a bullet mushrooming. Before he knew it, it was too late to stop the impact, and he had effectively smushed his own tail in itself. Wordgirl sighs as Frieza winces in suffering. Nothing could have stopped the foolish maniac from using his ego to his own demise. She stands before the broken mongrel as he tries to kick her right in the stomach, only for his endoskeleton to break completely. Leaving a shattered light across the floor, he gasps for air.
I am Lord Frieza! You are just a feeble child, descendant of Homo sapien scum!
He brushes as he steps back to unleash a fury of blast from his finger, smoke covering the air, polluting the sky with her blood as she grows more and more desperate. In his rampant motion, he flies up to the sky, both hands up, praising hell itself into the palms of his hands. The Death Ball.
Evolution has proven my status. It does not show mercy to you hairless vermin monkeys. I will not tolerate such ignorance from a race that passes dung around the campfire!
He relishes in his extenuating pain, charging at full power, floating in the air for a full minute as a moon-sized sphere grew larger and larger. Wordgirl spreads her feet apart in a ready stance as she winds her arm further back. The very idea of her not cowering in fear was enough to break Frieza's mentality. His reality that there is one who does not fear him. It insults his existence. The instant he felt 100% of his potential course through his veins, the dictator threw the ball right towards her.
I will kill you! I will kill you enough until you wish you died! I will hang your arms as a display to your people while rounding up your family in a public feast of your mother blood. Let's-a-conian!
It's Wordgirl. She spouts as the orb comes face to face to her, only for her hand to catch the orb in its place. The ground melts with the amount of kinetic energy needed to withstand the pure force of a planet's core-breaking blast. Both of her hands right in front of her as she slowly started to walk forward. Frieza looks down in pure disbelief. Without a reason of thought, he winds up two sorcerers to slice across her neck. An aura of comet shining light pushes against the dirt. A trail of her light speed soars across the sky as the second the two sorcerers try to pincer her head to its sinuation. She has already came face to face with Lord Frieza, the Death Ball consuming all remnants of evil inside.
Ha 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 ha! Yes, monkey, you have now preserved yourself in my place as my royal jester, falling right into my trap. Now, perish!
The two sorcerers come right back to her, with all of her attention on destroying him. She thought for a second how to counter. Her answer the same as before. To keep going. She lets go of both of her arms, winding her arm up to result in a sun-harnessing punch that splits the orb in half, resulting in a sheer gust of wind from her force, leaving a rupture on Frieza's body, a hole ripening right through. The saucers that he threw earlier stopped their traction, simply broken by the gust of wind. A crater is left on the planet Namek, a splitting of the entire sea resulting in total dryness to the arena. The frost demon falls before her. She falls in silence. She knew something was wrong. She would have never done this. Should she have done this? Was this deserved? He saved billions, but she has always had this power to stop conquerors. Should this always be the answer? Did she enjoy being a hero or a liberator? For as emotionally intelligent as a child can be, she's just that at the end of the day. A child. Frieza laughs, looking at the distress of her situation. Congratulations, hero. You're just like your own people. Only solving issues when it affects you. The evil fades away as the husk of his former self dries away. The audience of defeat watch in suspense from the sidelines of the parting ocean, knowing that she had just conquest, an evil unbounded by mortality. But in response, all she can do is lose a faith in stringing the words together. Shenron watches from the sky. a somber child clutching the result of her own efforts. The sand grain is halfway gone. Only 12 hours remained. Cut back to the fair city. A shadow looms as it holds the body of Son Goku, out of consciousness after fighting the tyrants, knowing fully well he never stood a chance. But the one in question who brought him back wore blue gloves as the blue sky, slowly taking off a part of her hair to look deep into his soul. Miss Power, 12 hours. Where have you been, Wordgirl? Hello boys, girls, people from other worlds. This is the end of the video. I never do the intro and the outro, but this is kind of special. I know I've been holding this video off for a pretty long time, but I thought it was well deserved after all of my other videos that this one comes out. If this one does just as good, I'll be sure to release a part 2. Already planning some other stuff. I think I'll do more drawings for it next time and actually make more visuals. I was thinking about doing a Goku and Wordgirl fusion soon, but we'll see about that. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed it. Follow my Instagram, Amarcito. Follow my Star-Punz TikTok, which is named Star-Punz TikTok. You can also find me on Blue Sky with the designated name of starpunzlateshow.bsguy.social. I also have a Tumblr, which is just named Star-Punz. No hyphen, sorry. And down below I will include my commission forum for anyone wondering if they want personalized drawings by me. I hope you all enjoyed this video and I thank you all for the support. I'm so sorry this took a long time to make. I had to make the script and everything and it was just annoying. Sorry. But yeah, thank you all for the support. And do that thing with that little button down there, you know that one, you know, it's subscribe.